Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Unbound. My name is Jay Morales, and I'm sorry for being a few minutes late, like always. But welcome to episode 22 of Unbound, the show where we dig deep into the headlines and bring you the stories shaping America. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. I had myself hearing myself twice there. Stories shaping America and the world. I'm Jay Morales here with my co-hosts Revelation and Davdon 710, and we also have our good friend Fate Prophet, and we got an intense lineup for you today. How we doing, boys?
Yeah, doing good. How are you?
Good, good. Another day down, and we're alive and breathing, boys. Glad to be here another day.
Yes, sir.
Indeed, indeed. And tonight we'll be covering everything from the Louisville UPS plane crash and FAA air traffic cutbacks during a government shutdown to the ammonia leak in Mississippi and the end of IRS direct file. A 40 million school shooting lawsuit, the historic rise of Zoran Bandini as New York City mayor, Maine's turning point USA expansion, Chad Smith's surprise gift to the University of Michigan, the stars joining this year's Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. Stay with us for in-depth coverage, expert analysis from our guys here, and candid discussions as well. Let's dive in, shall we, boys?
Yep.
It was a devastating evening in Louisville, Kentucky, as tragedy struck the nation's largest cargo hub around 5:15 p.m. on Tuesday yesterday. A UPS cargo plane exploded into flames shortly after takeoff from Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport, killing at least 12 people, including all three crew members on board, and several individuals working on the ground in a nearby industrial area. The aircraft, a McDonnell Douglas MD-11F, had been loaded with nearly 38,000 gallons of jet fuel for a cross-country flight bound for Honolulu. Moments after it began its ascent, witnesses said they saw fire coming from the left wing, heard thunderous boom before the plane veered off course. Seconds later, the left engine detached from the aircraft and spiraled towards the ground, followed by a massive fireball that lit up the evening sky. Video footage and eyewitnesses accounts confirms that the engine broke away just as the plane attempted to gain altitude within seconds. The burning cargo jet slammed into a cluster of warehouses and salvage yards about a mile from the end of the runway, erupting into a violent explosion that could be seen for miles. Emergency responders described the crash site as a war zone. Firefighters battled the flames for more than 2 hours before finally bringing the inferno under control. Excuse me. The intense heat melted nearby vehicles, destroyed buildings, and sent plumes of black smoke billowing across Louisville skyline. Among the dead are the three UPS flight crew members, two pilots, and a flight engineer. And nine people who were working in the industrial area hit by debris and fire. At least 15 others were injured, several critically, while others remain unaccounted for. UPS has since suspended operation at its massive Worldport facility, the heart of the company's global logistics network. Louisville hub processes nearly 2 million packages a day, and this shutdown is already rippling through the supply chain, delaying both domestic and international deliveries. Investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board and the FAA arrived overnight with full Go team. They've recovered both black boxes and are analyzing them in Washington. Early findings point to the left engine separating from the wing during takeoff, a mechanical failure that ignited the fuel laden jet. The aircraft itself was 34 years old. converted for cargo in 2006 and had last been inspected just 6 weeks ago. Governor Andy Bashir called the crash one of the darkest days in our state's aviation history, praising first responders and offering condolences to families of the victims. Local residents described the blast as something they could feel in their chest, the kind of impact that leaves a city shaken. Federal officials have declared a state of emergency, and environmental crews are still monitoring air and soil quality in the crash zone. The NTSB expects to release a preliminary report within 2 weeks, though a full investigation could take a year or more. This tragedy has reignited concerns over safety of aging cargo fleets and the long shifts endured by flight crews who keep America's logistics system moving. For Louisville, a city whose identity is built on air freight, this isn't just disaster; it's a scar. Now here's where the here's where the conversation opens up. Are we doing enough to maintain these aging planes that move our entire economy? Because every time something like this happens, it's not just about one flight. It's about the larger cracks in an overworked system. Was this preventable? Were warnings ignored? And what kind of support do the families and workers at Worldport deserves right now? After witnessing such devastation, these are the questions that need answers, not just from UPS, but from regulators who sign off on these inspections every single day. What do you guys think?
If you were to, let's say they bumped it from, a company bumps that large, like UPS, were to bump it from, let's say the standard is 6 weeks, right? Like that was. Let's say they then bump it to 5 weeks for inspection on every single one of their planes. They would then have to hire more people for inspections, hire more people to train people for those inspections. Uh, like the overall money needed just for that alone would cost them way more, like, than probably half the planes they have flying now. Like, I understand something needs to be done, but a lot of the companies really can't afford that.
Right.
Like, it's like, okay, do you you know have some older planes, to help, you know like only handle smaller things, and they don't have to have as much safety inspection, or they do, whereas the newer ones don't have to have as much safety inspection, so you can get away with that. Or whereas bigger companies, you know, they have practically, it's like, I really don't know, like, either way you cut it, it's either you put more workers and everything in, so you fix the problem, company loses money, but stuff is safer, or you don't do that, and the company basically keeps operating at its normal profit, but ends up having to lose money in the long run and pay out all of these settlements because eventually all the planes will continuously crash. They're going to have to pay for the shit for the people that died or got injured, and they're also going to have to get new planes.
Right.
It's damned
I?
if you do, damned if you don't.
Can I interject there?
Go ahead.
So I kind of agree with what you're saying, Grant, but there's also another side to that coin. And that side is proper maintenance, proper inspections, and proper loading techniques. And all three of those have to be followed for an aircraft, especially a cargo aircraft, like the UPS aircraft, because I've seen videos of the crash. Um, like the UPS aircraft that crashed yesterday. If the cargo is loaded either too heavy to the rear or too heavy to the front, the plane will not level off properly and it will eventually lose lift, or will stall out, lose lift, depart flight, and crash. You can sit there and do as much maintenance on an aircraft as you want to, and inspect it inspect that bitch as many times as thoroughly as you possibly can, as many times as you want to. But if you don't load that aircraft properly, it's doomed before it leaves the runway.
That's why I'm saying you
So
hire more people. You're gonna have to hire more people to train people.
No, you do a
And you're just
hiring
gonna,
pause while this crash is under investigation, and if it comes down to one of the first two steps or were not followed properly, whether it be something was not maintained correctly, or whether the inspection failed, because the inspection comes before maintenance, whether something was missed in inspection, or whether something was overlooked in maintenance.
well, I mean, either way, you're gonna have to
If one of those two
hire.
steps were not followed, then that is 100% the airline's responsibility. Now, if that third step wasn't followed, it is whoever UPS hires to load the packages into the cargo bay of the aircraft. It is their responsibility. So UPS will not be hiring anybody, and neither will I highly doubt that, and neither will their loading company for a while, until this investigation comes to a close.
Pretty
And
much.
there is an actual uh established reason as to why the aircraft went down, whether it was a mechanical failure, an electrical failure, an engine failure, a flight control failure, or the or the aircraft being loaded improperly. Until they can actually tell what brought it down, neither company will be hiring. Now, I guarantee you, all there have been quite a few groundings in and out of Atlanta today, due to the simple fact of that crash. They want to rule out. They're waiting for it to be ruled a non-terroristic attack, if that makes sense, because that will happen. Especially if something like that just drops out of the sky. But normally something like a crash like that, from what I saw, because I saw two different angles of it. I saw a CCTV footage of the plane coming down and hitting the ground, and then I saw a dash cam footage as soon as the plane hit the ground. The aircraft still had enough momentum to where when it hit, it slid and barrel rolled onto its over onto its top. It went right wing it decided it threw the right wing over, and
Yeah, I just found the video. I'm gonna put it on. I'm just trying to find
Like
it.
I said, either way, they're still gonna have to hire more people,
Eventually,
which
yes.
they're gonna have to hire more people to inspect the loaders and train them better. They're gonna have to hire more people for just to, to get better trainers for everyone overall, and they're gonna have to hire more people for maintenance and more trainers
There
for
will
and inspectors for the maintenance.
they
So they're
will
just gonna lose
probably end up
money.
doing a lot of rewrites to their operating procedures before they start hiring new people.
Because UPS ever since like the early 2000s, except for international and chartered flights, which just wasn't, uses their own people for loading planes. So it's solely so if it was like you said overloaded or misloaded, it solely relies on UPS.
Yep.
But if it was maintenance again, solely relies on UPS, which a lot of companies supplement their, you know, Boeing planes with older model planes for, you know, ones that don't necessarily need to go overseas.
Okay, here's a couple videos, guys. A little bit of a warning. It is very graphic. I know that it's only 18 and up, but for those of you that get a little bit cringy, I recommend you to just take a minute or two to maybe go get a drink, something to bite on. Um, yeah, give me a moment.
Trying to find the damn.
There we go. The video courtesy is from AP News, Associated Press. Thank you, Associated Press, for letting us use your video.
That's a problem. That aircraft never had a chance.
No. Are you watching it right
This
now?
isn't. This isn't what the one video that I saw. The video that I saw was
Hey, yeah, going sideways. I got that one.
rewind that shit. Back that shit up.
Give me a second. There's more. There's more video after that. No, that's it. Let's see. Is that what you saw? If not, this is the other video I'm about to put on real quick.
That engine's on fire.
Yes, correct. The left engine was on fire.
The number one engine was on fire before she even came off the ground.
Yeah. Look at this.
I'm watching your stream right now, but it's so far behind.
Well, I already ran this video like a few times. So
Yes, this one. This was a video that I saw.
insane. This video is courtesy from WFAA. Look at that, how crazy that looks. There was a huge explosion. Yeah. Here we go. This one right here. This part of this video right here. Sorry, guys. I just noticed that you can't even see what I'm doing. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, this is what we were putting on, so you know. Little bit graphic again. Sorry. This is what you
Yeah,
guys
this
were
was the video that I watched.
This is what you guys were missing right here. So I'm sorry about that.
Go ahead and
And then yeah, that's insane. I will
yeah,
run out
the
of there
start of
too.
this.
I can't believe that guy
The,
was just sitting there. There's another
yeah,
good
so
video of it somewhere around here.
So right, this is what I saw because he's sitting. This dude's sitting in his truck, and he looks up, and he just sees you. Just about the time that he looks up, you look over at the other side of the dash cam, and he jumps out of the truck and like takes off running the opposite direction of the crash, and it's like. I mean, you're smart for running the opposite direction, but at the same time, I'd be running towards the shit to make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah.
Because there was not enough. I mean, yes, there was plenty of momentum, but there was not enough altitude for that to be a. For that, this should not. There's no way they had enough altitude for that to be an 11 fatality crash.
Well, it's 12 now. 12.
Hold on. Back up, Jay. Rewind that. Cause I saw ground clearance. Or 12 fatality.
That's pretty much all there is. That was and now they're ending the discussion. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's that, ladies and gentlemen. Trying to get a little bit better and showing you things visually so you guys can see what we're talking about and keep you informed, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. And moving along on the same thing, and the ripple effects of the Louisville crash are being felt far beyond Kentucky. With UPS Worldport hub temporarily shut down, millions of packages are stranded across the company's network, grounding a system that normally processes nearly 2 million parcels every day. Worldport is the nerve center of UPS global operations. Every overnight package in the U.S. passes through Louisville before dawn flights fan out nationwide. But since the crash, the runways remain closed to large cargo jets, forcing UPS to divert hundreds of flights to Philadelphia, Dallas, and Ontario, in California. Those diversions have created a domino effect. Packages that were supposed to arrive Wednesday morning are now sitting in warehouses across the country waiting for rerouting. Customers are reporting delays in the next day, air, 2-day, and international shipments with transit times expected to double heading into the weekend. A UPS spokesperson confirmed that Worldport's sorting operations have been suspended indefinitely while investigators remain on site. In a written statement, the company said its focus is on the victims' families and on cooperating fully with authorities while shifting capacity to alternate hubs. The shutdown is hitting the economy at a critical time, just as retailers ramp up early holiday shipments. Some manufacturing plants rely overnight parts deliveries have already reported slowdowns, while online sellers scramble to reroute orders through FedEx and regional carriers. Thousands of Louisville workers have been told to stay home, and local businesses that depend on UPS 24-hour operations are feeling the pinch. Economists estimate that even 48-hour disruption at Worldport would cost tens of millions in lost productivity. Both the U.S. Postal Service and FedEx are experiencing surges in demand and warning of possible backlogs. Governor Beshear says the state is working with UPS and federal agencies to reopen runways as soon as safety allows. Cleanup crews are still clearing debris, but the NTSB has restricted access until all evidence is cataloged, a process that could take up to 10 days. Excuse me, real quick. For now, the global logistics network that depends on Louisville Heartbeat is running on backup power, held together by rerouters, delays, and improvisation. One engine failure has effectively jammed one of the most important gears in the global delivery machine. So here's what this moment reveals: how fragile our convenience really is. We've built an entire society on the promise of the next day delivery, but it all only takes one catastrophic failure to show how interconnected and vulnerable that system truly is. Will UPS and federal government rethink how much they lean on one hub? Will this spark changes in infrastructure or safety standards? And as we look at the bigger picture, what does this tells us about the balance between speed, safety, and sustainability in an industry that never sleeps?
So I'm gonna go ahead and answer one of those questions right off the bat. Yes, this is gonna spark some changes in safety and whatnot. The fact that one engine failure, I mean, but this is also not only going to change regulations and safety and all that, but it's also going to change training and their pilot, or it's going to change the way they do their pilot training, because that pilot should have recognized, or because I promise you that cockpit was louder than a bitch. Okay, I that cockpit was louder than a bitch on a Saturday night after a girls' night at the bar. Just, that aircraft was screaming engine failure before it came off the ground. That pilot knew there was something wrong, and he should have never taken off.
I don't know if he knew, man. That's what the investigation is going to show.
I promise you he did. And I promise you what happened is the jet started screaming some sort of caution, and he just went, "Oh, it's nothing," and shut it off. Because 99% of the time, that's what happens. Because 99% of the time, especially with older aircraft, they'll start throwing ghost faults, and pilots will be like, "Oh, it's nothing," and just hit the master caution reset button real quick, and it'll get rid of it'll get rid of that caution warning, and the next thing you know, there's a jet in the ground.
Yeah.
Um, so that is my educated guess, just off of stories that I've heard in technical school, during the military, and from friends that I have in the military. Um, because I mean that's the thing pilots do. It's like even the F-16, the F-15, even some of our most highly sophisticated aircraft that are older will they just throw random ass ghost faults, and the pilots are like, "Oh, it's nothing," and normally it's not. Normally they get lucky and it's not, but there's always that 1% chance. as we just saw, that there is something wrong, and there's that point, there's that 0.9% chance that it can be catastrophic, and because of this pilot's error, I mean straight up pilot error, because he never should have he never should have brought that plane off the ground. But we now have 12 lives that were lost that didn't need to be lost because of a pilot that never should have let an aircraft leave the ground. So
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we got a poll. Right now, we got a poll on our chat. You think UPS crash was pilot error? Let us know yes or no on the chat. Thank you.
Listen, all I'm gonna say about that is, if anyone's ever played, well, I should say, I'm pretty sure we've all played dominoes as a kid. We're all in that age range. Um, you line up the dominoes in a weird ass formation. You, you know, make them all fall down. Funny, haha, at that age. It's pretty cool. But the one thing you always have to remember about them, put them in an app, put them close together, you know, have your math right. So when one falls, it hits the other, keeps falling. Just like a plane, everything has to be right so it takes off properly, flies properly, lands properly. So somewhere in between that whole entire area, it's like dominoes, one block was too far apart from the other block, so when that one block fell, it never touched the other block, and that block stayed up. So that's how it happened. Something there just didn't go right.
Facts. Facts. Um, from that, ladies and gentlemen, so as UPS works to restart deliveries and rebuild confidence in its fleet, the very agency that governs America's airways is cutting back. From New York to Los Angeles and Chicago to Atlanta, the FAA is scaling down operations, grounding hundreds of flights, and stretching an already fragile system. So now let's break down what this 10% reduction means, which cities are most affected, and why travelers and airlines alike are calling it a slow motion shutdown in the sky, as if the skies weren't already stretched thin from the UPS disaster in Kentucky. There's a new crisis unfolding at the federal level, one that could reshape our air travel and cargo operate in the coming weeks. The Federal Aviation Administration announced late Wednesday that it will reduce air traffic by 10% across 40% right across 40 of the nation's busiest markets, beginning this Friday. The move affects both passengers and cargo flights. Comes as the government shutdown enters its fifth week, the longest in U.S. history. The FAA says that this decision is all about safety. Thousands of air traffic controllers have been working without pay since October 1st, classified as essential under federal law, but stretch beyond sustainable limits. Many are logging 6-day work weeks, pulling double shifts, and dealing with mounting fatigue and family stress. FAA Administrator Brian Bedford said that the agency could no longer ignore the early warning signs. An uptick in safety reports, staffing shortfalls, and burnout among key personnel. We're not going to wait for a disaster, Bedford said. The indicators are clear. We act now or risk far worse later. Transportation Security Sean Duffy backed the decision, saying it was not made lightly. He pointed out that unpaid controllers are struggling financially and morale is falling across controller centers. The risk, Duffy warned, is that more and more workers will start calling out or quitting altogether, something that would make the system unstable just weeks before the Thanksgiving travel surge. The FAA hasn't released a full list of affecting airports yet, but officials confirm the reduction targets what they call high volume markets, essentially the 40 busiest airspaces in the country. That could include, that includes major hubs like New York, Chicago, Atlanta, Los Angeles, and Dallas, and possibly several in the Bay Area. Together, these airports form the backbone of U.S. air traffic. Cutting 10% of flights capacity at that scale could mean up to 1,800 flights grounded every day, and more than a quarter million passenger seats removed from circulation. Sorry about that sound, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like our friend Dabba Rooney is back.
I do apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. Having some technical internet difficulties over here on my side.
Industry analysts expect the cut to roll gradually. I think I already said this, didn't I? Industry analysis expect the cut to roll in gradually, ladies and gentlemen. About 4% on Friday, 5 on Saturday, climbing towards the full 10% by next week if conditions don't improve. The slowdown won't just affect passengers. It also applies to cargo flights and business aviation, which means supply chains from e-commerce to medical freight could face additional strain for carriers like UPS and FedEx, which are already rerouting deliveries after the Louisville crash. This could amplify the disruption. The FAA insists that this isn't about politics. It's about protecting the integrity of the system, but the timing underscores just how deep the shutdown effects have become. Controllers were already operating below critical staffing levels before the funding lapse began. And now, with 5 weeks of unpaid labor, those shortages are hitting the breaking point. The FAA said it would rather slow the system safely than risk a catastrophic lapse of focus in the tower or the radar room. Travelers can expect longer delays. Whoa, what just happened here, docket team? What did you just do? Docket team, we're gonna make T-shirts, right? Revelations.
Yeah.
Docket team shirts. Docket team t-shirts.
Yeah, docket team T-shirts. Like what
But
the?
we're unsure of how many colors there be in, but
Do all the colors.
yeah.
Why not do all of them?
No, that's gonna cost too much. But it
Yeah,
is gonna
it's
say it is gonna say blame it on the docket team because we like to harass the docket.
Yeah, the docket
Jay.
team. Like what the heck?
They would do their job.
See, this is what happens. Like what the heck? All right, here we go. Here we go. But the timing underscores just how deep the shutdown's effect becomes. Controllers were already operating below critical staffing levels before the funding lapse began, and now 5 weeks of unpaid labor, those shortages are hitting the breaking point. The FAA says it would rather slow the systems safely than risk a catastrophic lapse of focus in the tower and radar room, which I think I already said this. Why are you doing this to me? Travelers can expect longer delays, fewer available routes, and possible cancellation in and out of the affected hubs. Airlines are scrambling to adjust schedules, and some considering swapping smaller aircraft for larger ones to keep seat counts steady, while others may pull routes altogether to stay compliant with FAA flow restrictions. Smaller regional airports, that depends on those hubs, are already bracing for fallout. When the major slowed down, everything connected to them, from ground operations to connecting flights, slowed down too. Beyond the terminals, This decision touches almost every layer of the economy. Freight movement will tighten, manufacturing timeline may slip, and the cost of time sensitive shipments is already climbing. Aviation experts warn that 10% reduction in its capacity across 40 markets could cost hundreds of millions of dollars in economic output. If the shutdown continues through mid-month, and if the controllers have absenteeism worsens, the FAA has hinted it could impose deeper cuts or even temporary airspace closures. The broader picture here is one of mounting strain. A reminder that America's infrastructure, no matter how sophisticated, runs on human endurance. Controller pilots and maintenance crews are professionals, but they're also people, and people have limits. The question now isn't just how long the shutdown will last; it's how long the system can safely absorb the pressure. For travelers, the best advice is to stay flexible and stay informed. Flight schedules are shifting daily, and cargo carriers are rerouting freight on the fly. But for the country's aviation backbone, the real test will come if Congress fails to reach the deal before Thanksgiving, when passengers traffic spikes to its highest levels of the year. And that brings us to a deeper question. What happens when an entire federal system is forced to ration safety? When people guiding every plane across country are working unpaid, overworked, and overstressed, what's the tipping point? The FAA says this card is about prevention, but prevention has a price, and this one is being paid by travelers, businesses, and taxpayers alike. As the shutdown drags on, the skies are becoming the most visible symbol of its reach. First, it was the delays at the TSA checkpoints, then the strain on flight crews, and now, for the first time in modern aviation, the government is deliberately slowing down the flow of air traffic to keep systems from cracking. What do you guys think? Oh wait,
You're all,
I'm not even in my
Oh,
discussion
well,
question yet.
no, no,
One moment,
no,
one moment. Well, go ahead.
okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm not even there. That was like a pre-question. So where does this leave us? Okay, maybe this is the moment for that forces Washington to face the cost of political gridlock, not in the abstract numbers, but in an ungrounded planes, missed paychecks, and fraying safety margins. Should the FAA have acted sooner, or should Congress have stepped in before the situation reached the skies? One thing's for sure: America's airways just got a little quieter, and not in a good way. Go ahead.
Aw, you're overworked. You're complaining about, overtime. You're stressed. You're not getting paid in your pretty little aircraft, watching job. Well, guess what? No one gives a fuck. The military should get paid first. I don't give a fuck about you watching planes, complaining all the fucking time. You come second.
I
Like,
do agree with Grant on that.
like you are in the news all the time, taking up all of people's fucking attention. You know who isn't in the news? The military. They're not complaining. They're not getting paid. They're literally doing their job for free, even though they shouldn't. But no, your pretty little airplane watching job, you're fucking whining, moaning, bitching, demanding everything. Like, ugh, I'm fucking sick and tired of it. Sorry, I had to rant about that.
That's
I'm
okay.
just
Anything else on it, boys?
So I do agree with Grant on the fact that military should get paid first. But this government done like this government shutdown is doing a lot more than just affecting the federal employees. It's affecting the entire fucking country. So Uh, yeah, the, I agree with Grant on that.
No, that's not what I'm
Military's
saying. I'm just sick and fucking tired of them being feeling like they're the ones that should be the only ones that get special fucking treatment. Oh, poor me, poor my family, poor fucking stress level, poor overtime. Bitch, no, no one cares. What about the Postal Service? What about fucking, the damn, we'll just go with fucking, we'll go with the FDA. What about fucking other government fucking ones? You don't hear them complaining, no. But for some fucking reason, it's only you guys. Only you guys that are complaining. Like, I understand that your guys' job is hard, but so is monitoring every single fucking communication device in America. Do they complain? No. Is monitoring every single abroad and domestic? Yes, that's pretty fucking hard. Are they complaining? No. Do I hate them? Not gonna discuss that right now for legal reasons. Um, you know, every other agency is not complaining, even though their job right now is very, very hard and they're probably not getting paid, if anything. But no, fucking pretty little plane watchers, they're complaining. Like, you know, taking up all the space when news could be being like, oh, hey, what should we be doing for these, individuals in this area that are affected by government shutdown, or this group affected by government shutdown, insert, blah, 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 blah. But front page, always these bastards. Sorry. Had to, ugh,
Well,
something I feel pretty fucking strong about right now.
while the skies are facing increasing pressure between the cargo crisis at the UPS and the air traffic cutback by the Federal Aviation Administration, the ground isn't safe either. In Mississippi, an industrial explosion has triggered a chemical leak and forced evacuation. Uh, so next, we'll dive into the what happened at the hydrogen and nitrogen products plant north of Yazoo City, the risks to nearby residents, and the wider implications of for chemical safety and community readiness. Uh, late Wednesday afternoon today, an explosion ripped through a hydrogen and nitrogen product complex north of Yazoo City, Mississippi, producing a hazardous anhydrous ammonia release and triggering immediate evacuation of nearby neighborhoods and businesses. The blast happened at the CF Industries facility on the U.S. Highway 49 East, and local officials say the event prompted a rapid multi agency response to contain the leak, monitor air quality, and protect residents in the area. State leaders and the company moved quickly to reassure the public that, at least in the early aftermath, no deaths or injuries had been reported. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves posted on X that emergency responders from across the state were on the scene, and that initial assessments indicated that ammonia leak resulted from an explosion. CF Industries issued a statement confirming all employees and contractors on site were accounted for, and the company was cooperating with authorities. Local coverage places the time of the explosion in the late afternoon. Area stations and reported cited first responders beginning around 4:25 p.m. Central on Wednesday, with evacuation orders and sheltering guidance rolling out in the hour that followed. Evacuation notices targeted the Renshaw Road and Generate Road neighborhoods near the plant. And local law enforcement closed the nearby highway and surrounding roads, while crews established exclusion zones. The American Red Cross opened a reception center at Yazoo County High School to assist evacuated residents with shelter supplies and information. Authorities immediately deployed environmental monitoring teams. The Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality said air monitoring operations were underway and would continue as long as necessary to ensure public safety. Officials warned residents to avoid the area, to shelter in place if they were downwind, and only to seek medical attention if they experienced symptoms. Sorry about that. Symptoms consistent with ammonia exposure, burning eyes, coughing, shortness of breath, or chemical burns on exposed skin. CF Industries, Yazoo City site is a large, complex operation that produces hydrogen, nitrogen products, nitrates, and ammonia for fertilizer and industrial uses. Public records and CF cooperate material indicate that the facility is capable of storing tens of thousands of tons of ammonia. Initial reporting cites storage capacity figures in the tens of thousands, roughly 48,000 tons of capacity for the broader site. Through officials have not yet released a precise figure for how much product was in storage or in process at the time of the blast. Investigators and company safety teams are working to determine what triggered the explosion, whether equipment failure or a process upset or sorry about this. Whether equipment failure, a process upset, maintenance issues, and another cause, and operations at the affected unit were suspended pending inspection and remediation. Traffic and businesses in the immediate area were disrupted. Walmart and other local businesses were instructed to halt outdoor activities or evacuate. And the Mississippi Highway Patrol closed access to the incident zone as emergency crews worked to secure the scene. Local hospitals were placed on alerts. In emergency management advice for first responders to follow hazardous materials procedures when approaching the site. While it is fortunate that no injuries were reported in the early hours of the response, the event underscores the potential risk that large chemical storage and production facilities pose to surrounding communities. Officials are continuing 24/7 air and soil monitoring to detect any lingering contamination, and the state and federal investigators will examine the plant maintenance and safety records, inspection history, and the sequence of events that led to the ammonia release. Emergency management and environmental teams emphasize that the absence of immediate casualties does not remove the need for a thorough review and accountability. For residents of Yazoo County and nearby areas, the coming hours will be focused on recovery and reassurance, debris removal, continual air monitoring, restoring disrupted services. The Red Cross reception centers remain open for people who were displaced, and county officials are coordinating with CF Industries to establish next steps for cleanup, monitoring, and community information sessions. The investigation will continue until regulators and the company are satisfied the site is safe to re-enter and restart operation. This incident raises immediate questions about how communities are affected from industrial risk. Are exclusion zones and evacuation plans adequate? Are inspections timely and thorough? And how transparent should companies be about quantities of hazardous material they store when a community's safety is at stake? We'll follow the officials' investigation and bringing updates as states and federal agencies release new findings. What do you guys think?
So let me get this straight. It was leaking ammonium, right?
Yeah, ammonia.
Do you know what
Yeah.
happens when ammonia and fertilizer mix?
Combusts.
Yeah, it becomes a bomb.
Yeah.
So there's either a 50% chance that this is fault of the company and a something like the what it was what was making all that kind of stuff, which, considering this company's been around since 1946 and we've never heard of anything bad happening about them like this or at all, I highly fucking doubt that. Which leads me to the other 50%. And considering they make fertilizer, diesel-based products, and chemical stuff out of that ammonia, I'm pretty sure it was deliberate, especially since the feds got involved. So, yeah, whoever the fuck did that, they better go to Mexico.
I do agree with what Grant said. I do think it is deliberate, but here's the deal. As we know, with them being a fertilizer manufacturer, they obviously have a controlled setting to mix ammonia and nitrogen. So that rules out the possibility of it being an accident, because hold on, I've got your stream up and I'm hearing myself fucking talk right now and I sound fucking weird. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, them having that controlled setting to be able to mix ammonia and nitrogen to make the fertilizer basically rules out the possibility of any accidental mishaps to cause this an explosion big enough to get federal agencies involved. Now, that being said, I mean, there's really no argument for this other than if it was an accident, it had to have been in some sort of either disposal area or storage area where either there was a storage vessel that was leaking, a disposal vessel that was leaking, or something, and things got mixed out of proportions, and somehow there was heat or spark introduced, and that's what caused the boom. Here now, with that being said, here's my speculation. That it was some sort of storage area that somebody stepped outside to go smoke a cigarette in, and there was a storage vessel. There were storage vessels of both chemicals, ammonia and nitrogen, were leaking, and he went to flick his cigarette, and when it did, it caught that shit on it. There was enough of a fucking ember to light that shit, and that's what caused the explosion, if it was accidental. But seeing as to the simple fact that they have, or that they literally produce fertilizer, meaning they have an area to make controlled mixtures of ammonia and nitrogen, we can almost 100% roll out it being any sort of accident.
Yeah, because they're all liquid fertilizers, which means they're in like batch containers. So
Exactly.
you would
That's all.
have to deliberately do something, like physically do something
Not
to.
Yes, but that physical something could have happened in transit to the fucking plant from wherever they ordered it from, because they have to order that ammonia and that nitrogen from somewhere. It has to be delivered to the fertilizer company some way, somehow, or if they produce the ammonia and the nitrogen themselves, they have to put it in some sort of storage container. Now,
No, they don't they produce the ammonia. They use two different substances to make it.
Okay. So, like I said,
So somebody could have tampered with those two substances if
that's
that
probably
was the thing, but then all the batches would have been affected.
exactly.
Then
Now
how
here,
exactly are you going to be able to tell now because the whole damn thing went up?
fair enough. Now here's where my side of things comes in, and it being some sort of like somebody was smoking a cigarette and got careless with where they were flicking their ashes, and they flicked an ember onto some shit, and it caused enough of a spark to fucking light everything else. Um, because, like I said, it it the container simply could have bumped into something in transit and broken a seal, and nobody noticed it until it was too late and everything was already up in flames. There's until the investigation is actually brought to a conclusion and completed and everything, uh we won't know for certain. I'm praying that this was just a simple careless mistake and was complete accident. But my gut's telling me that this was a deliberate act of violence from somebody.
Ah, I like I said, if it was deliberate, homie better go where there's where the U.S. doesn't have extradition rights. Which closest area that is Mexico.
You know what's funny is that's probably gonna change here soon.
We're not gonna get into that. Next area.
All right. I was gonna talk about something about the IRS, but it's not gonna affect a lot of us. It's only for. I'm gonna tell you this right now, what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Just maybe I'll try to cut it short and sweet. So, IRS direct file won't be available next year. Uh, so it's only those that will be filing with the pilot free tax filing option. Um, and direct file will not be available for the 2026 filing season. And an email recently sent to state tax officials by the IRS by the IRS leadership stated clearly, quote, IRS direct file will not be available in filing season 2026. No launch date has been set for the future. So, this program was originally launched under the previous administration as part of the efforts funding by the Inflation Reduction Act, designed to let eligible taxpayer file their federal returns directly online with the IRS at no cost. In its initial pilot year, the program served around 140,000 taxpayers. It then grew to nearly 297,000 accepted returns in 2025. But despite the growth, the decision to end its reflection pivot in policy, the IRS and Treasury say that they are better alternatives, that private sector is better positioned to handle tax preparation services. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said as much, noting that direct file was not used very much and that the agency believes commercial services can do a better efficient job. So what does this mean for you, the taxpayer? For one, that free direct to IRS online filing option will vanish, meaning you'll likely need to turn to either the existing fee options such as the IRS free file program, uh, which um, which partners with commercial providers, or B, paid tax preparation software or services. The elimination of direct file leaves a gap. Many users praise the program for simplicity, cost savings, and accessibility. Advocacy groups estimated that the average taxpayer could save around $140 per year by using direct file instead of page software. Another key implication: awareness and eligibility. Direct file had been available in 25 states for 2025 season and covered taxpayers with relatively simple tax situations, including some credits and forms. For 2026, without it, taxpayers will need to double check whether their free option is truly free. Some free commercial software has hidden free fees. Or whether they must pay. Additionally, this can change, especially impact low and moderate income filers who benefited from a free system with no upsell traps. The shift raises questions about equity and the cost burden, given that many taxpayers spend over $100 annually on tax preparation. Blah blah blah. From a broader perspective, the elimination of direct file underscores a larger debate about how the tax filing system should work in America. Should the government itself provide the software and filing platform, or should private industry take that on? When the government backs away from offering the service directly, the pressure shifts to private industry, to individual taxpayer. So let's talk through what this means. You guys can just let me know in the comment section. We're just going to move right along. So let's talk through this, what this means. Are taxpayers losing out when a free option disappears? Should we be concerned when choices narrow and costs arise? And how much will this change affect not just the cost of filing, but the speed, accuracy, and accessibility of tax returns for everyday American? So as we wrap up this segment, keep this fact in mind. While the sunset of direct file doesn't change your tax rules, it changes the platform you may use. And that change can ripple effects in cost, convenience, and control. As millions of Americans prepare for tax seasons without the IRS fee direct file option, the news keeps shifting from financial systems to the courtroom across the country. Another high stakes decision is unfolding, one that could have major implications for schools, administrators, and liability in violent incidents involving children. So up next, we turn to Mississippi, where a 40 million back to Mississippi again, where a $40 million lawsuit. It's in the jury's hands. The case involves a teacher who was shot by a 6-year-old student and is suing the school administration for negligence. We'll break down the details of the trial. What at stake for both parties? Man, I couldn't even say that right. What's at stake for both parties? And how the jury is deliberating in a case that raises serious questions about safety, responsibility, and accountability of school officials. Excuse me real quick, but I'll take a sip out of this. In a courtroom in Newport News, Virginia, a jury has now begun deliberations in a high-stakes civil trial that traces back to the shocking January 2023 classroom shooting. The plaintiff is Abby Swerner, a first-grade teacher at Regnick Elementary School, who was seriously wounded when a 6-year-old student brought a firearm into her classroom and opened fire. The trial centers on her claim of negligence against the school former assistant principal, Ebony Parker, and sought a judgment of $40 million in damages. Here's how the story unfolds so far, ladies and gentlemen. On January 6, 2023, Swerner was seated at a reading table with her first grade class when the young student, a 6-year-old boy, produced a gun from his backpack and fired multiple rounds. Swerner was hit, suffering a wound to her left hand and a bullet that remains lodged in her chest, narrowly missing her heart. She spent nearly 2 weeks in a hospital, underwent 6 surgeries, and continues to face life-altering injuries and physical limitations, including partial loss of use of her left hand. In the wake of the shooting, the lawsuit filed by Swerner accuses Ebony Parker, then assistant principal at the school, of ignoring repeated warnings that the student possessed a gun and was volatile. According to the complaint, at least 4 separate staff members or other raised concerns to school administrators on the day of the shooting about the student's behavior and possible weapon. The suit alleges Parker failed to act. No search, no removal of the student, no contact with law enforcement. Legal history of this case: a judge allowed the $40 million lawsuit to proceed in November 2023, rejecting the school district argument that workers' compensation was the exclusive remedy. The court found the shooting did not arise out of employment under Virginia law. The trial finally began in late October 2025 with opening statements revealing graphic testimony from Swerner about her injuries, PTSD, and a moment she believed she was dying. The case over the course of the week heard testimony from Swerner, other school staff, safety experts, medical professionals, and others. It became clear that the only remaining defendant is Parker. Prior claims against the school superintendent and principal were dismissed by court orders. As of November 5th, today, a jury has begun deliberations and closing arguments concluded earlier the same day. The central legal questions was assistant principal inaction, foreseeable negligence, given the warnings she had, or was the act by the 6-year-old outside the realm of what the school could reasonably prevent. Parker's defense argues the incident was unforeseeable and warns of Monday morning quarterbacking based on hindsight. For Swerner, the stakes are enormous, not just a monetary claim, but validation of a life changed. Her lawyers emphasized the enduring pain, lost earning capacity, disability, and trauma she continues to bear. Implications of the case are broader. It raises serious questions about school safety protocols, the responsibilities of administrators when warnings arise, how young children access firearms, and the precedent for liability in schools when such tragedies occurred. Sorry about that. Let's pause and pick this apart. When a teacher is shot by a 6-year-old, shockwaves go well beyond the classroom. What does it mean when multiple warnings were allegedly ignored? Who bears responsibility? The teacher, the administrator, the district, or the parent who provided the weapon? And will this verdict change how schools respond to threats, even from the youngest students? As the jury deliberates, the country watches, not just for the outcome of the one case, but for what it signals about accountability in education, safety in our schools, and how far institutions must go to protect every student and staff member. What do you guys think?
So, first, your first question was who bears responsibility? Part of it falls on administration. They're on school staff in general, whether it be the teacher, the administration, principal, the superintendent. Now, there is more blame to put on the parent for the simple fact that a 6-year-old had access to a fucking firearm. And not only had access to it, but knew how to use it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all for teaching your fucking kid how to use a weapon. But you should also teach them where to and not to take a fucking weapon.
Correct.
Because with that great power of knowing how to use a firearm comes the great responsibility of knowing where not to take said fucking firearm. The fact that a 6-year-old got his hands on a fucking firearm is so out of pocket, it's not even fucking funny. There is more blame to put on the parent than the school staff. Now, obviously, Miss Swarner, I think you said her name was, had obviously seen the signs that this kid was struggling, seen the signs that this kid was in a dark place, and had obviously brought it to the attention of administration multiple times. That is where the failure took place. Whether the administrative staff told the principal or not. If the administrative staff were told that there was something wrong, and that includes principal and superintendent, and they failed to act before it got to the point of a school fucking shooting, the blame is 100% on administrative staff in that aspect. But like I said, there is more blame to put on a fucking parent for not teaching their kid the great responsibility of where and where not to take a fucking weapon.
Right.
Plain and simple. The parents should face more charges than anybody, in my personal opinion. So,
I agree somewhat with you, Devin. 50% of that fault is with the parents.
I'd say more than
47 well, I should say, hold on. 47% of the fault, parents. 3% staff, mainly the superintendent and principal, because they were warned by the teacher. Teacher knew, completely warned. Once she warned, couldn't do shit. That's how it works. They didn't do jack diddly shit. Kid arrived. Here's where the 47% comes in. Blasted the teacher. Over and done with. Those percentages I just named all should be arrested. Is that kid gonna serve time? No, just gonna go to juvie, maybe a year due to his age. Maybe probation or community service. Are the parents gonna serve time? Maybe 5, 10, 15 years at most. Are the superintendent and principal? No, they're pretty much gonna get off scot-free because they are pillars of the community with clean records and upstanding citizens.
And that's the problem. Is like I said, there is the administrative staff is fully to blame for this, for not taking action before it got to this point. But there's more blame on the parents for having a firearm in reach of a child without teaching that was knowledgeable in how firearms operate, without having the knowledge of the responsibility of where to and not to take that firearm.
We're just gonna blame the kid for blasting his teacher?
No, I'm blaming the parents. Like I said, there is more fault to be put on the parents for leaving a firearm in reach of a child who knew how to operate said firearm without teaching him where to and not to take that firearm.
Okay, but the kid fucking blasted his teacher.
I get that. There is obviously a reason that this kid was struggling. And
Yeah,
that
obviously.
he had a violent outburst. Okay.
Yeah, I understand that the fucking parents are at fault. We're totally agreeing with that. We're totally agreeing with the damn
Now,
fucking.
we don't know the whole backstory. The kid could have been getting bullied.
Yeah,
Okay.
we
I don't
don't
give
know.
a shit if the kid's being bullied. He fucking blasted his teacher. End of story.
I'm not.
He would have blasted a kid if he was being bullied. He's smart enough to do that. If he's smart enough to blast his teacher, he's smart enough to blast a kid. Therefore, he knew what the hell he was doing.
I'm not. I'm not saying yes. The kids. I'm like. I'm not arguing that, Grant. The kid's gonna get in trouble.
No,
But
he's
it
not.
is. But it is more on the administrative staff, and the fucking parents than anything. There is blame on the child for fucking shooting a teacher. Yes, 100%. He shouldn't have done that. I'm sure by now the kid fucking realizes, oh hey, I probably shouldn't have done what I did. But there is more blame. But I'm placing more blame on the parents for poor fucking teachings on how to use a firearm, and on the administrative staff for not fucking taking action and trying to help an innocent fucking child that was struggling in fucking school like I used to.
Okay, we all did, but none of us at any point in time decided to go, oh, hey, you know, it'd be really cool.
Oh, I don't think you understand just how fucking
If
close I came to it.
Devin, I nearly committed suicide. You don't think at any one point in time, you know, I'm off my fucking teacher.
We can't hear you very well, Revelation.
It's like, okay, you know, I never at one time thought, Devin, I'm gonna off my fucking teacher. No, I never thought of that, Devin. I don't think. Jay, did you ever think I'm off my teacher? Did you ever think that?
No.
Exactly, Devin. No, none of us ever thought of offing our teacher.
No, I'm not saying that, but there were multiple times that I wanted to walk in with a fucking Tommy gun and just start blasting motherfuckers.
That is literally what I just said.
Moving along now, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't know we were going to get this dark on the show. I'm so sorry about that. Very, very, very sorry. As millions of Americans prepare for tax season without we already talked about that. Sorry, we're not going back to to that, ladies and gentlemen. The docket team. You know, we're gonna blame it on the docket team, and we want to wish our condolences to Miss Warner. And our schools face accountability over violence, and taxpayers prepare for major filings changes. Now comes a moment of historic celebration, one of that signals both progress and possibility. In Zoran Memdani's victory in New York City mayoral race, we see more than a new mayor. We see a new era. So here next we'll be exploring how Mandini's win has sparked excitement and hope among America's Muslim communities, what his candidacy meant, and what his leadership might represent for the city and the country. And let's not forget that this is also a tad bit of controversy.
I'm just gonna say it. New York City is going to become the biggest lawless fucking shithole in America.
Well, we're gonna dive right into that. Wait for it. In the end, we got discussion questions like we always do, ladies and gentlemen. In a moment that may one day be regarded as a turning point in New York City, politics Zoran Kwame Mamdani clinched victory on November 4th yesterday, 2025, to become the city's next mayor. With that win, Mamdani became the first Muslim mayor of New York City, the first South Asian mayor, and one of the youngest individuals to hold the office. Sorry about that. His background and accent tell a story of immigrant roots, grassroots organizing, and bold progressive vision. Born in Kampala, Uganda on October 18th, 1991, Mamdani is the son of Professor Mahmoud Mamdani and filmmaker Myra Nair. He moved to New York City with his family at the age of 7, and then later attended the public schools and went to earn a bachelor's degree in Africana Studies from Bowdoin College. His upbringing was steeped in academic debate, cultural awareness, and activism. Early on, he worked as a housing counselor in Queens, helping low-income homeowners avoid eviction, a role that grounded him in the economic struggles of working New Yorkers. Mamdani entered elected office in 2021, winning a seat in the New York State Assembly representing the 36th district. which encompasses parts of Astoria, Ditmars, Steinway, and Astoria Heights in Queens. His legislative work focused on housing, transit, and cost of living issues. cost of living issues. But what set him apart was the transition from moderate lawmaker to insurgent candidate. In October 2024, he announced his candidacy for mayor of New York City. His campaign pivoted around bold affordability, promises fare-free city buses, universal child care, rent freeze on stabilized apartments, $30 minimum wage by 2030, and city-owned grocery stores to cut food cost burdens. He strategically built a coalition of immigrants communities, including Muslim, South Asian, and African heritage residents, younger voters, progressive activists, and working class New Yorkers. His campaign literature was translated into Urdu, Arabic, Bangla, and Spanish, a nod to the multilingual and multicultural fabric of the city. During the campaign, Mamdini gave memorable speeches that underscored his vision. One such quote: "We have won because New Yorkers have stood up for a city they can afford, a city where they can do more than just struggle, one where those who toil in the night can enjoy the fruits of their labor in their day." Another high-profile statement, quote, "Every politician says New York is the greatest city in the world, but what's good is that if no one can afford to live here." He also didn't shy away from identity and representation. To be Muslim in New York is to expect indignity. New York will sit idly while trans people are attacked. His campaign style drew attention not just for policies but for the branding. The grassroots events and volunteer-led merch drop-ins on street corners. One profile noted his campaign, quote, "Hats, tees, and totes were everywhere in Manhattan, with the design inspired by taxicab yellow and an old Bollywood poster." Despite the momentum, Mamdini faced significant headwinds. The editorial boards of major New York City newspapers warned of his inexperience and radical agenda. He also faced scrutiny for his positions on policing, his rhetoric regarding the New York City police, his stance on Israel and Gaza, and the label of democratic socialism he embraced. In June 2025, Mandini delivered the upset of the cycle when he defeated former Governor Andrew Cuomo in the Democracy primary. He garnered more votes than any mayoral candidate in New York City primary history. Over 565,000 votes in the final round of ranked choice voting. The Guardian described the win as seismic shift in American liberal politics. On November 4th, yesterday, in the general election, he secured victory with over 50% of the vote, defeating Cuomo, running independent, and Republican Curtis Sliwa. With that win, Mamdini set a new benchmark as young immigrants Muslim mayor in the world most diverse city. He is expected to be sworn in as a mayor on January 1st, 2026. The significance of his win resonates far beyond New York City. For America's Muslim communities, his victory offers both pride and validation of civic inclusion. It says representation matters. It says that an immigrant born in Africa, raised in New York City public schools, can raise not just to public office but to top leadership. It says that platforms aimed at working class affordability can carry weight, even in a mega city long dominated by establishment politics. Analysts believe his success may provide a blueprint for progressive and working class politics nationwide. Yet the real test begins now. Delivering on his ambitious agenda will require navigating city-state relations, budget constraints, coordination with agencies, and reconciling symbolic leadership with effective governance. His historic identity, Muslim, immigrant, young, progressive, is a powerful, but it must be attached by performance. So, what does this moment tell us, ladies and gentlemen? Is this the start of a new wave of political leadership in America, where identity, affordability, and grassroots power coverage? Can the young mayor elect translate hope into real change for tenants, transit riders, immigrants, and newcomers? And for his similarity situated supporters across the United States, is his victory a spark or a one off? Time will tell, but for now, New York City has elected a mayor who represents people who work at night and carry the city by day. And and that narrative matters. You let us know in the comment section, and boys, what you think.
Listen, I have no problem with Muslims. What I do have a problem with is pond dwelling, scum feeding, blood sucking assholes known as communists like him. He is literally going to ruin that city beyond what it already is. That, oh, hey, you know, people can't afford to live here, blah, blah. Bitch, no one's ever been able to afford to fucking live in New York City. Have you fucking seen the prices of the houses?
Oh,
Hell,
it's
in
a
the
rage.
in
It's
the
crazy.
80s, people no one could be able to fucking afford there. Like, maybe if people had started to fucking change it back then, people could afford it. People can't fucking afford to own a goddamn house everywhere. Shut your fucking ass. Like, you're a fucking politician. You can afford to live in places. Like, shut up. Like, you can afford to go to fancy restaurants, drive fancy cars. Like, shut your bitch ass up.
You
Like,
see,
we're struggling to have fucking, nice fucking food, and so
mm,
we have to eat fucking cheese goddamn sandwiches over here.
agree with Grant. Um, and I'm with Grant. I don't have a problem with Muslims either. But what scares me, one, is the Muslim progressive. That to me sounds like a cover up from Muslim extremist. Um, I mean the fact that he is so out to get the fucking NYCPD is so fucking ridiculous that it sounds like it honestly sounds like he wants to run a lawless city. Um, and here's where that's going to end up being a problem. Is what is the second he starts defunding and taking away power from the police and the crime rate starts going up, New York City is going to turn into a fucking war zone. Like straight Call of Duty battle, like Battlefield 6 Battle Royale war zone type shit. I mean, it's going to be just bodies in the streets, buildings in rubble, cars burning left and right, and like I don't trust him. The second I heard one of his speeches about defunding the police and like abolishing or doing away with the police and whatnot with the New York City Police Department, I was like, yeah, no, you're a fucking nitwit. Um,
That's gonna cause problems.
yeah, straight up. Um, and I don't know. Like, part of me is like, go ahead and fuck around, dude. See what happens.
You're gonna find out.
Um, and then this whatever, like this talking about White House proofing NYC. Bitch, please. How the fuck you gonna do? Build a fucking wall? We've got fucking 155s that'll bring it down in minutes. Like this Muslim progressive just sound like I said sounds like a cover for Muslim extremist.
Well,
Uh,
Oh, go ahead.
he's going to just he like Revelation said, he is going to absolutely destroy New York City, and it's not gonna be pretty.
It won't. Um. As we end that segment, ladies and gentlemen, I was gonna turn into another segment, but it's a little bit touchy, so we're gonna leave it behind, ladies and gentlemen. But moving on to some significant thing that is not politics, but in music education. Red Hot Chili Peppers drummer Chad Smith, inspired his Midwest upbringing, has surprised the University of Michigan with a scholarship for aspiring musicians, bridging his rock star legacy with giving back to the next generation. On our next part of our segment here, we'll explore Smith's personal connection to Michigan, the details of the gift, and what it means for music students and the local community. In a move that connects drum riffs to philanthropy, Red Hot Chili Peppers drummer Chad Smith returned to his roots in the Midwest this week to make a bold announcement on one that bridges his rock star legacy, his upbringing, and the future of music education. Growing up in the suburban Detroit and having attended La Salle High School in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, Smith never forgot where he came from. Though the Red Hot Chili Peppers are often associated with the Southern California soundscape, Smith himself, quote, the Minnesota connection is strong, the Michigan connection is strong, and that's why we're here. It's a natural, authentic fit for us. End quote. On Sunday in Ann Arbor during the University of Michigan's annual Bandorama event, Smith made a surprise appearance where he didn't just show up. He sat in with the Michigan Marching Band at Hill Auditorium and performed the Peppers hit "Can't Stop." Then he revealed the launch of a new music scholarship, the Curtis and Joan Smith Scholarship, named after his parents in partnership with the University of School of Music, Theater, and Dance. The scholarship will begin awarding in fall 2026 and will be granted to an incoming undergraduate music student who demonstrates financial need and a serious commitment to pursuing music. Smith's parents were Michigan area residents and Minnesota alums. He credits them for supporting his early musical career, which began in Detroit clubs and bars. His mother, now 98 years young, and his late father were front and center in his announcement remarks. Beyond the showmanship and surprise performances, there's a clear mission via Chad Smith Foundation. Smith aims to expand access to high quality music education and open doors for young musicians who might otherwise miss them. The University of Michigan statement described the scholarship as reinforcing our mission to expand the access to high quality music education and career pathways for aspiring musicians across the country. What makes this especially relevant? Smith roots tie him to the region, making the gift more than a publicity stunt. It's a return to origins. The partnership highlights the role of musicians giving back to education in meaningful ways, especially focusing on lower income or under represented students. It sets a precedent of how rock icons can leverage their fame not just for performance but for structured institutions based philanthropy in the arts. So let's reflect. When a major rock star comes back home and invests in the next generation of musicians, what signals does that send to the students, to the industry, or to the regional arts education? Could this be a catalyst for other artists to do the same in their home communities? And for and for the University of Michigan, this scholarship isn't just about money; it's about legacy, outreach, and changing the rhythms of access and musical training. Let us know in the comment section what you think, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna move along to our good friend Revelations for his topics tonight.
Okay, let me bring up my juicy one.
Oh,
So
go ahead.
everyone, considering it is getting close to Thanksgiving, apparently Oreo in all their wisdom thousand flavors has decided to unveil Thanksgiving limited edition flavors. So, as of November 3rd, when this was published, Oreo's Thanksgiving dinner inspired cookies are flavored like holidays and more uniquely, dinner dishes. Oreo releases Thanksgiving dinner inspired cookies with flavor of desserts and dinner dishes. The fudge covered treats come in 6 flavors, ranging from turkey and stuffing to pumpkin pie. The limited time cookies are available online in tin. Oreo's latest innovation brings turkey and cranberry sauce to dessert. The snack brand revealed its brand new Thanksgiving dinner inspired cookies on October the 29th. The cookie sandwiches are each coated in fudge, but here's where the Thanksgiving flavors come in. The fudge is infused with the flavors of 6 different Turkey Day dishes. Oreo Thanksgiving dinner inspired cookies are available in inspired flavors like apple caramel. That one sounds good. Not to be confused with the previously released caramel apple Oreo. Uh, what? That okay, Oreo, you're on some drugs. Why would you do that? And pumpkin pie, but not the pumpkin spice Oreo. Again, Oreo. What? The rest of the lineup is inspired by Thanksgiving with more savory references, like turkey and stuffing, sweet potato,
Ew.
creamed corn, and cranberry sauce. Each treat is tinted in a full hue to correlate with the festive flavor. For example, creamed corn is dunked in a bright yellow fudge with a light yellow turkey and stuffing cookies are aptly brown and, well, brown. The limited edition Oreos are packaged in a Oreo-shaped tin. There are 2 of each flavor in every package, and it goes for $20 online. Krispy Kreme is also taking flavor inspiration from the season. The bakery chain revealed 9 new donut flavors, 6 of which are all permanent menu items, and they are all starting Monday, November. The 9 new flavors are maple iced, chocolate fudge brownie, pumpkin spice cake, original glazed cream filled. That sounds bangin'. Oreo cookies and cream,
I like some
Biscoff
cream-filled ones.
cookie buttercream. Hey yo, I want some of that Biscoff cookie
That's Biscoff is
buttercream.
popping.
Yeah.
He likes
Cinnamon
that.
apple filled, New York cheesecake, and original glazed cake. The introduction of
Can't hear you. You there?
yeah. I believe that is the end of to see if there was any more.
That was
Cut
it?
And
out.
there was not more. What? Are you there?
I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, you're breaking up a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
Don't know why. But that was it.
Come
That
on
was
your end.
the.
Yeah, that was the end of that one. I was just reading further to see if there was any.
Okay. Okay.
I believe I have two more. Would you like me to
Yeah, go ahead.
continue going,
Because
or
I only have one left, and then I think Revelation has some sports announcement about
you
WWE.
mean Dab Done?
Yeah, Dab. I mean, you guys have been saying your names tonight like it was nothing.
No, I mean we kind of got heated there, so.
No, I know.
Yeah, we kind of got into a little bit of a heated discussion, but hey, that's what this channel's for,
Um,
This
right?
is what this
Let me
channel is
go into
for.
my book.
Correct. It's about
Bring
entertainment
up the.
and discussion. That's what it is. That's why I like you guys being here, and we'll continue on with this Monday,
Okay,
Wednesdays, and Fridays,
boyos.
ladies and gentlemen.
So chat. I know you're probably hearing, but
We got 7 people watching.
What's up, chat?
So remember the recalls, everyone? Well, guess what?
Back to the recalls.
FDA announces recall on 3 tomatoes. Potential botulism risk.
Oh my God.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has announced a recall of 3 tomato sauces sold at Big Y stores for a possible health risk. The sauces were manufactured by First and Last Bakery LLC and have have the possibility of containing Clostridium and Boltanium toxin. Who the f comes up with these names?
I don't know.
Which can lead to botulism.
Scientists. That's who. The fucking smart
Botulism
people.
Botulism is a form of food poisoning. It can have severe symptoms, including weakness, dizziness, double vision, trouble speaking, swallowing or breathing, abdominal constipation. In some
Or even
cases,
death.
botulism can also lead to death.
Oh, wait.
3 sauces have
Why am
been
I laughing?
recalled. First and Last Original Marinara Sauce, tomato and basil, First and Last Original Traditional Pasta Sauce, meat flavored, and First and Last Original Puttanesca Sauce, mildly hot and spicy. So if you guys, if any of you in chat have ever heard of this company and have consumed any of those 3,
see your doctor immediately.
Yeah, consult your doctor. That would be a very wise choice. The FDA says that these sauces were manufactured without an approved schedule or otherwise to determine if the process is adequate. Therefore, the FDA isn't able to determine if the sauces were canned correctly. If the acid-containing sauces weren't canned properly, they could form Clostridium botulinum toxin, which can lead to botulism. All 3 products were sold in 26-ounce jars at Big Y locations in Connecticut and Massachusetts beginning September 22nd. Okay, so yeah, if any of you are in Connecticut and Massachusetts, you probably heard of Big Y. So careful, just careful. The recalled jars have a by date of September 26. Check the FDA's website for images. Identify the last tomato sauces easily.
Wait,
And,
did you say their best by date was September 26th?
Yes. So that is when it first started.
So what you're telling me is
That it's been going on for a while, and they just found out about it.
well,
Yep.
shit.
Whoever been done having spaghetti, lasagna, or any other Italian dish. Oh boy. And time for the final. Now, we have a interesting one in both a holiday related and, alcohol one. Modelo unpacks a vibrant and elevated seasonal brew. The fan favorite beer is launching a limited edition flavored lager to celebrate the season authentically. Modelo launches the now for any of the Spanish-speaking viewers. I'm gonna absolutely butcher the ever-loving shit out of this, so please forgive me. Noche Especial, a limited-time holiday amber lager. Well, I should just say any Spanish word you hear me absolutely butcher the shit out of this, so please forgive me. Brew inspired by Noche Buena tradition. Mexico, the seasonal brew features a caramel malt flavor. Modelo Noche Especial is more than a beer. It's a flavorful way to celebrate the season. Stop giving me ads. Modelo is getting in on the festive flavors right on time for the start of football season. Early friend-giving gatherings and holiday celebrations. Wow, thanks for the typo. It's supposed to be friendsgiving and celebration.
Blame it on the docket team.
No, don't blame it on Docket Team. Blame it on the people who write the fucking article here. It's parade.com.
Blame it on the
Re-
docket team. It's not even something docket can handle.
Recent data shows the seasonal and holiday rank among the top selling and craft categories. So, in response to strong demand for unique, celebratory flavors that feel special, the top selling beer brand is launching its own holiday brew. In an effort to keep its classic, Modelo is launching a Noche Especial brew inspired by the vibrant and cherished holiday traditions and flavor of Noche Buena celebrations. And in parentheses, they put Christmas Eve, embraced across the U.S. Hispanic community. The brand's golden, full-flavor Pilsner style lager is the top-ranked beer in the U.S. in dollar sales, according to the company. So there's no way it wanted to fool around with that recipe. Instead, Modelo is launching amber. Well, yes, all Pilsners are lagers. Not all lagers are Pilsners. We break all that and more down in our guide to beer. So flavor aside, the brew may be a little heavier accustomed to. It features a toasted caramel malt flavor and aromatic profile of 5.7% ABV, according to an official description, which also suggests that the seasonal release offers a elevated twist on traditional holiday ales. That said, some things where it's made, Modelo's Noche Especial is still brewed exclusively in Mexico as part of the Casa Modelo brand family and Constellation Brands, which, if you don't know, also own we're going to give you a little fun fact here. Corona.
Corona.
The Modelo brand continues to innovate by staying true to its heritage and embracing to the community. Logan Jensen, Vice President of Brand Marketing at Modelo, shared in a statement adding that Modelo is a flavorful way to celebrate the season. Those looking to get their hands on the new brew have to wait all too long. As far as told, the Modelo Noche Amber Lager at national retailers in 6-packs of 12-ounce bottles, but only while supplies last. Prices may vary. The brand expects to sell out quickly, and we wouldn't be surprised either, given the success of summer-exclusive brews. So if you see it on shelves, maybe consider picking up a pack if not for you. And remember to, if you do drink alcohol, drink responsibly and don't get behind the wheel of a vehicle or other motorized, automobile. Call a cab if you are buzzed. and drive safely. When not drunk or buzzed.
Perfect PSA.
We sponsor. We have legal advice. That's the end of the article, everyone.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. Thank you so much, Revelation. We truly appreciate your, the segments that you bring us. We truly do. Moving now to our good friend, Dabdon710. What do we got in store, bud?
All right, so we're gonna start off in the sports department.
It's in the game.
In the world of WWE tonight. After the events of Saturday night, we now have a new World Heavyweight Champion. CM Punk finally got his shot. He won the title. It's locked in. And so here we go. At Saturday night's main event, CM Punk won the World Heavyweight Championship by defeating Jey Uso. Now, prior to WWE Raw, the title has been changed in every major way. In every major way. Before Raw, CM Punk's title has gone through a big change. Gone are the side plates that belong to Seth Rollins, who has held the title for a large part of this year now. And instead, his own customized side plates have been added to the belt. The belt has been on one of the ones to create the most stir among fans over the weekend.
Go ahead.
As the title change was guaranteed. Jey Uso's loss was something that fans had been contemplating, as Punk had lost out on a Royal Rumble win earlier this year, with Uso receiving the big push. This time, though, it was Punk who got the big win and became the champion. It remains to be seen who he faces as the first champion. But it should not be too long before that is decided as well, as he has been waiting for a proper reign with the title for a long time, and it's time that he receives one after his WWE return. CM Punk's reign with the belt will determine the coming months for WWE. While he has only just won the title, the coming months will determine how WWE's shows go. As at Saturday night's main event, things did not go quite how the two stars wanted. Jey Uso may have walked away from the event with an injury. On top of that, there was a botch that left Punk furious as well. Uso was presumably heading towards a heel turn given his demeanor to Jimmy and Roman Reigns over the past few weeks. The coming episode of Raw, which this article was published on the 4th, I believe, if I remember right from what I read up top. Yes, published or modified November 4th, 019 GMT, which I want to say that's about 6 o'clock our time. So Monday night Raw, I don't think it happened by that point. Because today is Tuesday, if I'm correct. No, Wednesday. So this article is obviously a day behind. Here's where things get interesting, because we already know from the events of Monday night that there was obviously something that was supposed to go down between CM Punk and Logan Paul. But Logan Paul, being the cheeky little punk bitch that he is, decided to pull the knucks and physically knocked out Punk during the match, which resulted in his disqualification. Here's where my discussion for this article comes in. What happens now? Because as we saw, the possibility of Jey Uso turning heel goes most likely out the window. Seeing to how Jey was quite literally carrying fucking Punk out of the ring that night. I I have also been informed that Logan Paul recently turned in his resignation and has retired from WWE following the events of Monday night. Is Punk going to call out Logan Paul for for basically a rematch after the cheap shot, or is Punk just going to let it go? That's my big discussion question for this one. Go ahead and let us know what y'all think in chat. Revelations, Mr. Morales, what do y'all think?
I think they're just gonna have him move on to some new thing in the storyline. Considering at this point in time, you know, he's probably facing some sort of massive disciplinary thing from TKO. I mean, literally knocking out, somebody in the ring that is one of their two at now the you know at that moment in time faces of the like that's something you do to like a tag champion or a mid card champion like US or Intercontinental. You don't do that to a you know heavyweight or WWE champion.
Yeah.
If you do use brass knuckles, you use like the gimmick ones. Homie had real
Brass
like
knucks. Yeah. No, those were straight real brass knuckles. But anyway, moving on to my final one. An update from the Department of Defense today. This article is from, see if I can find it. Published yesterday at 11:18 a.m. Eastern Time. So as we know, tensions with Venezuela are quite high right now. We're basically on the brink of on kind of on that teeter spot of boots on the ground in Venezuela. So U.S. deploys F-35 fighters to Cold War era Puerto Rico base as Venezuela tensions escalate. The military has reactivated a Cold War era naval base in Puerto Rico and deployed thousands of troops to the Caribbean as tensions with Venezuela escalate, marking the largest American military buildup in the region in decades. Roosevelt Roads Naval Station in Ceiba, Puerto Rico, closed since 2004, has become operational again back in September when F-35B stealth fighters, Marine Corps helos, and heavy transport aircraft C-17, C-130s, and C-5s began using the facility's 11,000-foot runway. The base sits approximately 500 miles from the Venezuelan coast. The return to operational use at the base is part of a massive military buildup in the region, in what officials describe as counter-narcotics operations. But the scale and composition of forces suggest preparations for potential broader military action. More than 10,000 U.S. personnel now operate in the U.S. Southcom, which is U.S. Southern Command's area of responsibility, with the aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford en route to join them. Roosevelt Roads returns to military operations. Satellite imagery and photographs from mid-September show F-35B fighters, MV-22 Osprey tilt rotor aircraft, and CH-53K King Stallion helicopters operating from Roosevelt Roads. Construction crews were photographed September 17th, repaving taxiways and clearing facilities at what is now designated as Jose Aponte de la Torre Airport. Wow, I'm actually quite impressed with myself that I was able to actually pull it off.
That's how you do it.
Um,
Keep on reading, buddy.
F-35s reportedly arrived at the facility September 14th with open source aviation analysts identifying them as F-35Bs based on photographs. Reuters documented five F-35s on the former Navy ramp. The base closed 21 years ago following protests over military exercises on nearby Vieques Island.
Vieques.
Various redevelop, yeah, what Mr. Morales said. Uh, various redevelopment proposals for the 8,650-acre site that never materialized, and much of the property remained largely unused. Puerto Rican state senators Nitza Moran Trinidad and Carmelo Rio Santiago introduced Senate Resolution 286 in September to evaluate repurposing Roosevelt roads for national security purposes. Quote, for decades, Roosevelt roads represented an economic engine for the eastern region of the island, Trinidad said, according to the San Juan Daily Star. End quote after island. My bad. End quote. Today we have a responsibility to seriously and strategically consider the possibilities of its facilities, once again playing a key role not only in the defense of the Caribbean and the Americas, but also in the economic revitalization of Saba and the surrounding municipalities. End quote. USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group heads to the Caribbean. The Pentagon announced October 24th that Secretary Hegseth. Excuse me. Sorry, Secretary. Sorry, Mr. Secretary. That Secretary Hegseth ordered the USS Gerald R. Ford and its Carrier Strike Group to deploy to the Southern Command from the Mediterranean Sea. The enhanced U.S. force presence in the U.S. Southcom AOR, which is U.S. South Command's area of responsibility, will bolster U.S. capacity to detect, monitor, and disrupt illicit actors and activities that compromise the safety and prosperity of the United States homeland and our security in the Western Hemisphere. End quote. The Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell posted on social media platform X. The Ford, commissioned in 2017, is the Navy's newest and largest aircraft carrier with a displacement of more than 100,000 tons. Let me stop right there and say, 100,000 tons? And that's that. I wouldn't want to fuck with that. If y'all could see
tons, by the way.
I mean, if y'all could see the picture that I'm looking at right now, the way this beautiful aircraft carrier is straight stacked with Hornets and 35s right now. My lord.
I do want you to realize nautical tons are different from regular tons.
It's probably a lot bigger.
Yeah, it actually is.
So, yeah, I would not want to mess with that. It is, anyways, back to the article. At 100,000 tons, it is the largest active warship in the world. Meaning there is not a single one of our rivaling nations or allied nations that have a warship bigger than the U.S. than the Gerald R. Ford. Anyways.
I am Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, your senior drill instructor.
The ship carries a crew of approximately 4,600 and hosts 9 squadrons of aircraft. 9 fucking squadrons, guys. That's a lot of aircraft. The carrier was in port in Split, Croatia, when the deployment order came. two of the strike group's destroyers, USS Forrest Sherman and the USS Mitcher, I think, were operating in the Red Sea and Arabian Sea and may not join the Caribbean operation. The carrier strike group will join the USS Iwo Jima Amphibious Readiness Group and the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit, which have both operated in the Caribbean since late August. That force includes more than 4,500 Marines and sailors. I wouldn't so much worried about the sailors as I would the Marines.
They ain't gonna be fucking around.
Straight up. USS conducts daily strikes on suspected drug boats. U.S. forces have struck at least 11 vessels in the Caribbean and Pacific waters since early October, killing more than 50 people in what the administration characterizes as operations against drug trafficking.
I think it's 23 now.
That's highly possible. It has been over 24 hours since this article was released. The most recent strike occurred November 2nd when six people were killed off Venezuela's coast, according to a post by Secretary Hegseth on X. The October 28th strike was the deadliest to date. 14 people killed across 4 vessels in the Eastern Pacific in 3 coordinated strikes, according to Secretary of Defense. Trump formally notified Congress October 1st that the U.S. is in a non-international armed conflict with drug cartels, treating suspected traffickers as unlawful combatants. This has caused diplomatic pushback from both Venezuela and Colombia. Colombian President Gustavo Petro said one victim was a fisherman named Alejandro Carranza. Trump responded by calling Petro an illegal drug leader and announced the suspension of counter-narcotics funding, and announced the suspension of counter-narcotics funding to Colombia. Jesus Christ, there's quite a bit of shit in this article.
Yeah.
Real fast. If he could confirm, if what's his face blowing smoke up his ass, man, could confirm that one of those 14 people,
I'll go ahead and stop
was
this article here. And we'll go ahead and start about a squat. We'll go ahead and so here's kind of where things kind of. Let me start off with the earlier article that I started off with us being set up in the Caribbean. Here's where it's good and it's bad. It's good because it puts us with just that much closer, or with boots on actual ground within striking distance of Venezuela. Now here's where, on the flip side of that coin, where that's a bad thing. Us setting up and reactivating Roosevelt Roads, Venezuela could see that as an act of aggression or act of war and get all uppity. I mean, not that it'd matter much, but now, like I said, if things do pop off, we don't have to worry about loading the jets with as much fuel and can conduct strikes much faster, much more efficiently, and much more often than if we just had a carrier strike group there. Because one, we've got multiple squadrons, not just the 9 that are on the Gerald Ford. So but at the same time, with this war on drugs, We have ways to. I mean, I'll say it this way: we know the U.S. government knows everything, everybody, everywhere. Okay. So we know who's good and who's not. We know who's slinging shit and who's not. We know who's running the shit and who's not. Plain and simple.
Facts.
So there is, you can sit here, everybody can, I mean, you can try and sit here and say, oh, that wasn't what it was. But if they got hit, they were obviously something. I mean, it sucks that they got hit because, yeah, I mean, what if they were just an innocent? What if it was just an innocent fisherman? But obviously, he got hit because we knew something that the Colombian government didn't. Venezuelan. I'm pretty sure the dude that I was just talking about on that last article was Colombian. Yeah, he was Colombian. Colombian President Gustavo Petro said one victim was a fisherman named Alejandro Carranza. Colombian.
Well, let's all be honest. The only thing that really comes out of Colombia is, well, we all know.
Cocaine. Colombian cocaine. So, if the Hispanic countries down south don't want to help us with the with taking out the cartels, then fine, get out of our way while we do it. Like that, like. Do I think it's a good thing that we decided to reactivate a Cold War era base in the Caribbean, in Puerto Rico? Honestly, yeah, I do. Because like the article said, it'll end up being a good thing for the Puerto Rican economy, for one. U.S. military service members love to spend their money because of how much they make. I mean, shit. When I was in training, making fucking bank. Could have bought a fucking new car with the money I had in.
Interest.
Oh no, I could have fucking paid that bitch off in one fuck. I could have just been like, here's the money. That's how much fucking money I was saving while I was in. I could have bought a fucking $20,000-$30,000 car with cash.
Any ending
Like-
thoughts there? I don't mean to cut you short, man, but we were trying to shoot all of us to be off before 1 a.m., and I need to plow through this so we can all get off.
Yeah,
Good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move along to our last segment as the holiday season approaches. One of America's most beloved tradition returns, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, scheduled for Thursday, November 27th, 2025. The parade kicks off at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time in Manhattan, winding its way from West 77th Street down Central Park West. Along Central Park South, and finished at Macy's Herald Square on 34th Street. Millions will patch in person or tune in on NBC or stream via Peacock. As the parade runs through approximately noon, this year's parade blends decades of tradition with contemporary culture, showcasing balloon floats, marching bands, and star performances. Among the headlining musical acts are Sierra, and bringing her signature R&B and pop energy. Foreigner, offering classic rock anthems for longtime fans. Lil Jon, ready to turn up the energy on the streets of Manhattan. Kool and the Gang, delivering timeless funk and soul grooves. Busta Rhymes, performing high-energy hip-hop hits. Mickey Guyton, highlighting contemporary country. And Tiana Taylor, adding a modern R&B flair. Adding to pop culture twist, the fictional K-pop girl group Hunter X, featuring
Huntrix. It's Huntrix.
Oh, sorry. Huntrix featuring Audrey Nuna, AJ, or EJ, and Ray Amy from the Netflix hit K-pop Demon Hunters will appear with their characters Derpy Tiger and Susie in a balloon and balloon vehicle. They're calling it Balloonical duo, blending live performance with fantasy. The parade will also feature 32 character balloons, including fan favorites Buzz Lightyear, Pac Man, Mario, and Shrek themed Onion Carriage. Towering 32 feet, 27 floats bring musical, festive pop culture scene to life, while 33 clown groups spread cheer along the route, marching bands from across the U.S., including South Carolina, California, Texas, Arizona, New Hampshire, Mississippi, Alabama, and Pennsylvania, as well as international representation from Santiago, Panama, will contribute to the spectacle. The New York City Marching Band rounds out the roster of 11 featured bands. Broadway will make its presence felt with performers from musicals such as Ragtime and Buena Vista Social Club, bringing you theatrical energy at the parade route. This combination of music, theater, and visual pageantry ensures that the parade remains a multi generational celebration, a tradition for families across the nation. For those attending in person, it's recommended to arrive early. Prime viewing spots along Central Park West often filled by 6 a.m. or earlier, and excitement begins long before the first balloon is inflated. The Macy's Thanksgiving Parade 2025 exemplifies a perfect mix of old and new. Vintage floats alongside pop culture icons and timeless marches from classic bands and contemporary music acts representing today's chart toppers, whether you're in the crowd or watching at home. This year's parade promises spectacle, energy, and the magic of the holiday season. As we discuss, as we look forward to Thanksgiving, consider how the parade continues to blend tradition and innovation. From classic balloons to the newest pop and K-pop acts, the parade reflects both nostalgia and the evolution of American culture. For families, performers, and viewers, it's not just a morning of entertainment, it's a living, breathing holiday ritual. Um, so let us know. I know that with all the issues that we have talked about with the FAA and the issues that there's happening with the controllers, people that are working the controllers for the planes and stuff. I want you to know something. If you can't fly, try to rent a vehicle. Try to visit your loved ones the old tradition way of just taking a road trip and taking it all in and soaking it in, ladies and gentlemen. Um, with that, ladies and gentlemen, before we close out the entire show, we're going to have our good friend Revelations close out his mini daily reminder segment, ladies and gentlemen.
So today's daily reminder is quite important. It is if you ever decide to, you know, open your door during a, thunderstorm, don't know why you would, but if you do, and there is, some scary looking mummy guy, his clothes are flowing in the wind, and
Grab your
before
12 gauge
he,
and blast that
and,
motherfucker.
and before he even goes to say anything, just give him whatever weird rock that you just happen to find in the past day or so. Just give it to him. Just give it to him, cause I promise you, whatever happens next, you're not gonna like. So just give him whatever weird flat rock with writing you found in the middle of the woods. Just give it to him. That's all I'm gonna say.
Just give it to him. That is the daily reminder, ladies and gentlemen, from our good friend Revelations. Revelations, thank you so much again for always joining us, and we'll catch you next week. Ladies and gentlemen, before we give you our final outro, I would like to give you our sponsors of this show. Um, Here we go. Which you've been seeing them all day today. I've been popping them up for you. Atlas Epoxy Floors. Our good friend Bradford Kelly. He is the owner of Atlas Epoxy Floors. He does travel all the way to New York and go down all the way to Florida and maybe take a trip to our good friend Dabdon to Oklahoma to do dabs. Perfect garage. Ladies and gentlemen, he does garages, basements, patios, lobbies, countertops. His phone number is 203-496-6386. Can also email him at brad.kelly@atlasepoxyfloors.com, or can also visit his website at www.atlasepoxyfloors.com. Bradford Kelly, CEO and owner. They are located in Milford, Connecticut, ladies and gentlemen. Milford, Connecticut. Atlas Epoxy Floors. We also have our usual sponsors. The Kayville Hotel and Tavern. They're located in Klein, Feltersville, Pennsylvania. They're open from Wednesday to Sundays. Wednesday 4 to 9, Thursday 4 to 9, Friday 4 to 10, Saturday 12 to 10, Sunday 12 to 8. Their phone number is 717-949-8413. Address 2647 Heidelberg Avenue, Klein, Feltersville, Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, Seth and Jamie, the owners, will welcome you in with open arms like family. They have great food, great atmosphere, great drinks. The place is not a hotel. It used to be a hotel and now turned into a nice tavern. When you go down, make sure you try their peanut butter and jelly burger and many other great foods that they have in their menu. I'm also on a show called Producer Mike Presents in the Jessup Show Legacy. But the show is called, once you go into the YouTube channel, the show is called Producer Mike Presents The Movement. We're on every Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. My good friends here, Revelation and Dabdon 710, will be with me on Tuesday in that show as special guests. So tune in on that. We'll be also big news here. We will be also streaming the show here on our channel starting Tuesday as well, ladies and gentlemen. So you'll catch a back-to-back live feed from Producer Mike Presents in our channel as well, starting next Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. With that said, we are closing out this segment, ladies and gentlemen. Let me close this. Let's open this. And now, before we sign off, is a critical reminder from all of us here, me, Jay Morales, Revelation, and Dabdon 710. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, you can call or text at 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. You are not alone. Trained professionals are ready to help. Take care of yourself and each other, and join us next time, which is Friday. And also, by the way, before I tell you about this Friday, before I let you go here, next Friday won't be a show about news, more than likely. We don't know yet what we're bringing you, because we're bringing you something different. You'll watch and see. We got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you on the next one, the other episode of Unbound podcast. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And tonight, we're not going to leave you with Tempest. We're going to leave you with a beautiful Cuban band which is they're part of the Macy's parade because they have a Broadway show, the Buena Vista Social Club. It's the story of all the Cuban fellow musicians that were recognized at their very end of their lives, and they made it possible to go abroad and spread their love of music. Now, years later, now we're representing them in Broadway for those that are not longer here, and only some of them are around. So tonight we're going to leave you with Buena Vista Social Club song called Chang Chang. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy and have yourself a good night. Go ahead, guys, say your goodbyes and take it easy.
Hey, good night. Thank you.
Oh, bless you. Chat. Everyone wish him a bless you.
Bless you. Bless you,
But
Dad Done. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good night.
but but anyways, on that note, chat. I thank you for listening. The podcast. And if you were just waking up and decided to turn this on and listen to us before you headed up to work, you stay safe at work. And so thank you guys.
And if you're waking up at fucking midnight to go to work, I feel bad for you, dog.
Don't
Oh,
worry, they got us to keep them company tonight. So take it easy, everybody, and have yourself a great morning and night.
De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto voy para Mayarí. El cariño que te tengo no te lo puedo negar. Se me sale la babita, yo no lo puedo evitar. Cuando Juanica y Chan Chan en el mar servían arena, como sacudí el jibe, a Chan Chan le daba pena. Limpia el camino de paz, que yo me quiero sentar en aquel tronco que veo y así no puedo llegar. De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto voy para Mayarí. De Alto Cedro voy para Marcané, llego a Puerto voy para Mayarí.
dream will rise to the top. Oh yeah.